Hey, and good morning, y'all. Or at least it is morning for me, which is miserable. I am usually asleep till minimum like 11:30 in the morning. It is much earlier than 11:30, but I was up all night kind of working on a resource because lately we've seen more and more reports coming from creators saying that they're being doxed, they're being threatened, they're being stalked, blackmailed, you name it. So the Creators Spicy Tea team and the Fetish Buyers Community team, we all wanted to come together and get out this resource as fast as we could. I figured what we could do today is sit down together and talk some tips on how to help stay anonymous online. Staying anonymous online, I mean, as we know, there's so much we can do, but there's only so much we can do. Coming next week, I'm going to actually share my story, my personal story of how I was blackmailed and doxed and you name it, and I'm going to share every single thing I did wrong so that hopefully you can avoid those if this ever happens to you. But let's look at some of the steps we can take to try and prevent that from ever happening. I have my trusty notes here because there's a lot of points to hit that are very important and I don't want to miss any. Alright, so the first thing we can do is when we are creating our content, there are a lot of steps we can take to help hide our identity. If you're faceless and all that, makeup can go a long way, right? We've all seen those TikToks where you see someone and then 2 seconds later and at least $40 to $70 worth of product later, they are a different person. Makeup can do amazing things. Wigs can help in that too. Here's the thing. Our line of work is a little active and makeup can rub off and wigs can fall off. It's not necessarily an infallible option. When it comes to fully disguising your face, honestly, our best option is either very creative camera angles that will block your face out, just cut it out of the frame entirely, or a fully obstructive mask of some sort. And there are some beautiful masks out there. That is not a terrible option. So those are your best options there for disguising your face. Speaking also of makeup, if you have tattoos, if you have identifying birthmarks that you need to cover, full coverage. Concealer can go such a long way. But again, that can rub off. So we still have those tattoos, we have those birthmarks that we don't want people to see. I'm covered in tattoos, but as a face-forward creator, I'm taking that risk. Not everybody is comfortable with that. So for everything you can't hide with clothes or concealer or props, we have post. We have retouching, we have Photoshop, we have AI generative removal. At least that is what I use on Lightroom. I get rid of blemishes with it. I get rid of any identifying info that's kind of just hanging around me. And Lightroom is great for photo editing. When it comes to video editing, it's not the best. So what I tend to use for video editing is, and y'all, I'm throwing up a Hail Mary, help me here. So what I use is CapCut Pro, right? And I do the overlay or the sticker feature where I plop in a sticker over whatever I'm trying to censor. It's rudimentary, yes, but it works. It works. It takes a lot of work. And the tracking feature for it is not great. It's not great. So here's my Hail Mary to y'all. In the comments, please, whatever you use to either blur your image in videos or your tattoos in videos, or you use to censor, because I censor my trailers, so it's not just my nude body in my trailers on like many vids and all that. So whatever y'all use, share. Help a girl out, please, please, please. Actually help a lot of people out, because I know that's something a lot of people are looking for, is a great video editor that we can use to help hide and protect our identities. We covered hiding our face a little bit. We covered hiding our birthmarks and our tattoos a little bit. The things on your body are not the only things that can be used to identify you, right? So we also have every single thing in the background of all of our images and all of our videos. So what I do, because I do all my accounting in my studio, I do all my filming in my studio, I do all my bookkeeping, record keeping, you name it. So there are documents everywhere and all those identifying things. So before I turn my camera on to stream for a cam, or fully start hitting that record button or hitting the shoot button, look in your background. Like, just take a second and just like scan your background, move back and forth, right? Just get a really good look. Assume you are going to be moving around a lot, so you need to make sure your full background is just safe and clear. Are there family photos in your background? Photos of your children? Is there college or high school or your town's memorabilia? Can you see a road sign out your window? If you are in public just taking candid shots, can you see road signs there? Can you see license plates, right? All of those seemingly harmless little things, those are breadcrumbs. We don't need to leave breadcrumbs. We do not need to help them find us. So check your background, right? Now, let's say you're maybe in a space that you can't clear out your background. Okay, there's options, right? So for me, in photos, I use Lightroom. It has a blur feature where it will use AI to pick out the foreground, blur the background. It also has a masking feature where you can do more precise work. For videos, again, CapCut has a filter on Pro called Focus. It's not the best. It's not. It turns everything a bit more of a cool tone as well. Y'all, I'm just saying, hit me with your video editors that have AI background blurring, please, and the image tracking for censoring. Hit me if you got it. Please, please, please. We are all begging. But that Lightroom blur and masking helps a lot. What I do for my backgrounds is on my I don't know if you heard that. That is my dog Ducky. She is pissed at me for being alive this early. I'm sorry, ma'am. Shoot, where was I? Oh, for my videos, when I record on my Android, my Samsung phone, it does have a portrait mode, which records with a blurred background, and you can adjust how blurry it is. I don't know if your device has that. Check it out, though. So speaking of our phone cameras, most specifically our phone cameras, also some digital cameras do have this feature. Turn off the location permission to your camera. Your camera does not need to know where you are. The reason being, every single piece of content, every video, every photo, all of it contains metadata within it. And that metadata says things like the place it was taken, the location, and the time, and the date. All of that information and more is logged into your piece of content. And wherever you post that content, people can take that content and get the metadata from it, which means they can and have the ability to trace where that photo was taken. So let's say you took that photo in your bedroom and you have your camera's location permissions on and it logged it in the metadata. They now know where your bedroom is. So Your camera's location permissions, they don't need it. They don't. And there are also multiple apps for both iOS and Android that you can go in and either change, delete, wipe, what have you, that metadata. So keep an eye on that. Make sure your photo or video, etc. details, make sure the details and the metadata on it do not have your location. That's not even a breadcrumb we're giving. If I took a picture in here, which everyone knows at this point this is my studio, if I took a picture in here, posted it, and someone grabbed that metadata, that would be a whole loaf of bread, not even a breadcrumb, all the way to me. So watch your metadata, get the location permission off your camera. Also, in regards to protecting your location, VPNs are great. I have used 2. I have used ExpressVPN, no complaints. I used Proton's VPN. Again, worked totally fine. I preferred the pro version of that over the free, but I think both would work just fine. That being said, as we know, there are some platforms, think Reddit, think TikTok, things like that, that will downrank you if you post on their platform while utilizing a VPN. So how I get around that for Reddit, because I don't post on TikTok hardly ever, how I get around that on Reddit is using a scheduler. So my IP address is still protected by my VPN at all times. And I'm not getting downranked because technically the post isn't being uploaded from me or my device. So they don't know I have a VPN on still. So that's just a little cheaty workaround I've found, which has kind of just been so helpful. Okay, stepping away from creating content, right? Let's look at the stuff around that nonsense. All of your platforms, your accounts, all of that, anything that you have linked to an email, think a Gmail, what have you, right? They need to be connected to a work email or a business email in which your information is not on it. Your legal name, not there. Your phone number, The reason being, it is getting easier and easier and easier to get people's email from things like social platforms. And the pipeline from a social platform to email to the information that should be private that's publicly posted on, let's say, that Gmail you've had for 10 years. That's your first name and then your last name with maybe a period in between. Hi, I'm guilty. I got like 17 of those at this point with different numbers. I'm the worst, but that cannot be what you use for this. It is too easy to trace back to you. So all of your accounts for your content creation, if they need an email attached, that is an email that has none of your information. Speaking of keeping things separate as a mother trucker, your personal life, your personal socials that have nothing to do with content creation, right? Just your socials. Think like your old Facebook you still have, or that Instagram you've had since who knows how long at this point. They should be private. They should be private. And if you can, if the platform allows you, you should be turning off the feature that allows people to tag you. That will help you moderate and control who is seeing your private information. Our content creation, we want to blast that. We want as many people as possible seeing that, right? We don't want that same thing for our personal private information, because that personal private information can be used against us. Make your personal socials private. Lock them down. So wrapping up, we're going to talk about gifts and payment from fans, buyers, subscribers, what have you. When it comes to receiving gifts, please use a wish list site. Consider Throne. That's the one I use. Love them. Have not ever had a problem with them. Buyers don't see my information. I get goodies. It's a good day. Please consider using one like Throne, but one to not use one to please don't use is Amazon wishlist. Please consider an alternative option because Amazon wishlist, two things. One, a buyer can purchase something off your list. It'll clear off your list. You'll think you have it. Okay? And then they can cancel their order right before it ships. Maybe that's a day later. Who knows? They can just cancel it and then you get nothing. And they lied. And that's scamming. That's happened to me. You know how many times that happened to me before I learned? 2 times. That's a lie. 3 times. It happened to me 3 times before I finally learned my darn lesson and said no more. Learn from me. You don't have to make that same mistake and get scammed 3 times. Ridiculous of me. The other reason we don't use Amazon wishlist, they provide purchasers of things off your wish list 3 pieces of your information. And this is a whole bakery's worth of information. They provide the state you are in. They provide the city you are in and your name. That's everything. That is a direct line to you. That is a map with gas stations mapped out. They wrote out the music list. They don't need that info, so don't give it to them. Please consider options other than Amazon wishlist. A alternative to wishlist sites is P.O. boxes, but I would highly, highly suggest against them if you can get away with it. If you must use a P.O. box, consider one in a city very far away from you. Even a neighboring state if you can. Put distance between your front door and that P.O. box because that P.O. box is helping them get right to you, right? And if you do receive anything in a P.O. box, you open that package in the parking lot and you please check for tags such as GPS tags, location trackers, things like that. Please make sure you are completely safe taking that package home and you're not taking the buyer, fan, subscriber, or gift giver home with you. And last, final note is a big one. And it's one I still get quite a few questions on every now and then. And to answer it without even asking the question, you never, ever, in this day and age of online anonymous tipping and payment platforms, you never need to give your name or your bank details, your address. You do not need to provide any of that to anyone ever for any reason to get paid for anything. There is no reason. I mean, for example, right now, I think I have 6. I have 6 payment platforms. Every single one of those 6 payment platforms is anonymous and international. Yeah. There's no need for someone to have your information, your personal private information, to pay you at any time. Okay, actual final note. I swear this time. Probably. When it comes to payment platforms and sharing your personal information, please consider not using PayPal. Please consider that. They are not safe for us for very many reasons. We have seen maybe not millions, but we've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of creators report, my account's been taken down, they're not giving me my money back, I didn't realize. It's one of their biggest terms of service. They'll shut us down every time if they get a whiff, just a whiff of us. Okay? But that's not the only reason they're not safe. When it comes to protecting our personal private information, they do provide your legal name to whoever pays you. That was a lot of info. It was a lot of info. I'm going to have this all typed out in a resource on the subreddit, the r/creatorsspicytea subreddit. It's also going to be on the Creators Spicy Tea Patreon. So those will both be available for those who just want to look back at it without having to listen to all this. Alright, it's getting hard. It's getting harder and harder to stay anonymous and stay safe online. But there are steps we can take to try and help. As I said at the beginning, there is so much we can do. But there is only so much we can do. So, please consider putting some of these tips and tricks into action to help protect yourself, hide your legal identity, and protect your anonymity online. We all of us, all the teams, really, really hope you are all staying safe, very safe. And you're staying sane, as sane as it gets at this point. And I goddamn hope you're flourishing. Thank y'all. This was Allie, with Creator Spicy Tea. And I'm gonna see you next week with a little bit of a personal and hard story. I'll see y'all then.